Chop! That was a cool ass dog, man. Remember that Christmas episode of Doug where everybody thought Pork Chop attacked BB and then they were trying to put him in dog prison and then Skeeter goes, ha ha, the entire time? That was dark. But after clearing Pork Chop's name, I'm sure they had a wonderful feast involving, that's right, pork chops, which is what we're making today on Pork Choices. We are Parmesan crusting these and searing them in a pan. This is a quick and simple dinner night protein. And to be completely honest, in my recollecting of that Christmas episode of Doug, I actually thought they were trying to put pork chop down, which would have been really dark. But kids can handle it. Pork Chop's trying to save BB but from falling through some ice, and he grabs her leg in his mouth and everybody thinks he's attacking her. So then like fucking Pork Chop's on trial. And I think they put like a muzzle on him too. This was a dark episode. I actually didn't like it as a kid. Hey, it's been a while since I've been on camera. How y'all doing? How's the family? Yeah, it's been nuts over here. They've been building like 6 buildings nearby, so it's been a little noisy. But this recipe moves so fast that I felt like, why not jump on the camera today? So here we are. I've got Prosecco. As I said at the top, we're making pork chops. Really, really easy. You probably made these before, or you just never thought about making them. Sorry, this light's in my way. Never thought about making them, so guess what? Now you've got a new dinner idea. We're starting out with 2 pounds of boneless pork loin chops. You know, these are on the thicker side, which I personally like. Sometimes at the store, you'll find them on the thinner side, which is totally fine. But I like these thicker ones just because they are more fun to sear. The thinner ones, they tend to cook really, really fast, so you have to pay attention to them a lot more than you would with these. So the idea today is really simple. We're gonna put in some Parmesan, into some egg wash, into some breadcrumbs, into the pan, and if we need to, we'll finish it in the oven. So without further ado, let me take a sip, because this is gonna be half the episode here is just me drinking. If you want to, you can absolutely make your own breadcrumbs. Italian breadcrumbs are actually really easy to make. Just get a bunch of bread. It can be white bread or Italian bread. Just an assortment of breads if you want to. Cut them up into chunks, pop them in your oven under any temperature under 300 degrees. If you go over 300, you want to start browning them. So I'd say maybe like 250, 275. In there until they dry out and become, you know, toasted essentially, but without the browning. Take that out, pop it into a food processor, and then from there, after you kind of break them up a little bit, throw in some Italian seasoning, some garlic powder, some onion powder, salt, pepper, and you'll kind of do those just by eye and smell. Like once it starts smelling like how you are used to a breadcrumb smelling, you've got yourself some Italian breadcrumbs. But nothing wrong with just using the already pre-made ones. I think you just get more flexibility with how you want to flavor it if you make your own, is the benefit. So I'm just gonna pour some here onto a plate, no real amount, because we got a good amount of chops here that I want to, burping already, that I want to coat. Then I've got some Parmesan cheese here. You can absolutely use the, you know me, I'm a Parmesan snob at times. You can absolutely use just the kind that's in like the Kraft plastic jar or whatever. It's fine. I'm just of the nature of like, whatever the main ingredient, the main flavor that I want to taste, I try to make sure that's the best quality one. And I could grate my own Parmesan cheese, but I really like this one. It's got a good texture of gratedness. A little more on the expensive side. I'm making up words as I go. A little on the more expensive side. I think this was like $6 versus I'm pretty sure that Kraft one is like $2, depending on when you're watching this video, if we're still in these here inflated times. So I've got this whole bag, and I'm just gonna start with half that. We'll see if we need more. No real measurements. I mean, I would say that's like a cup. It's probably a little more than a cup, give or take. And then we need some egg. We need for our egg wash, so I am going to pop 2 eggs in here. Easiest way to crack your eggs without getting shell in there, flat surface. Open it up, boom. You'll never have to fight shells again. Flat surface, boom. Now, the downside is I gotta clean that up, but at least you don't have to sit there and try to fish out shells for 5 minutes. And then we are just going to beat these eggs real quick while we're sipping. Now, fun, easy part here. Let's get our chops actually just kind of spread out so that I can get these all in like one layer. In my head, it was a good idea to put it all in this tiny bowl, but now I'm starting to regret it. First thing we need, some salt. I've got some kosher salt here, and we're just gonna come over Just give these some salting. Not a huge amount, but enough so you can be like, hey, there's salt on that. Contrary to what you think, which is pork is naturally already salty, it can still use just a little help. I'm gonna come back with some pepper. I'm just doing this in my hand because I feel like I have a little bit more control versus trying to go through those spouts. And hey, if you have it on hand, you could absolutely, do something along the lines of like some parsley here, some other flavorings. There's nothing wrong with it. I just believe sometimes simplicity tastes the best. Just remember the Italian breadcrumbs has a lot of like those seasonings already in it. So we've got that first side. Just want to kind of pat it in, make sure it's sticking. And then let's repeat the process on the other side. Also, by the way, I've got my oven preheated up to 400 degrees because there is a chance we may need to finish this in the oven. The reason for that is because I want to get a good crust on these from our sear, but say we get a good crust on both sides, but the internal temperature, God damn it, my watch threw me off. The internal temperature is not at 140, 145 where I need to be to consider it done. In that event, what we'll do is we'll pop it into the oven and finish it there. So it's more of a radiant heat that can kind of cook it a lot more evenly versus the high heat contact of the pan. So there's a chance we do that, but we'll see. Oh, my watch is going off, which means my risotto in the back is done. And my risotto is, I literally just packaged risotto. It's nothing fancy. First, we're gonna go into our Parmesan and get it nice and coated. We can do a couple pieces at a time. Shake the excess off. Into our egg wash. Get all sides. Move this here, shake the excess egg off. Then I like to just do it this way. And make sure everything is coated. So I'm gonna do the rest of these, just that simple. And you can do this ahead of time, like a couple of hours. If you wanted to, you could do this in the morning, pop them in the fridge, just let them hang out there, and then when it's time for like say dinner or something, you can just right into the oil and you're good to go. So I'm gonna do the rest of these and then we'll be right back because it'll be time to sear. All right, we got all of our chops breaded up and everything. I did have to use an additional egg, so that was 3 eggs total. And one thing I just want to point out for those of you who are new to the whole breading process, make sure that you're shaking the excess off. Especially when it comes to the egg, because the last thing you want is for like everything to fall off completely off the pork chop after it's cooked. So just make sure you're giving it time to drip off before you move to the next station. Otherwise, let's get our induction top up. We're going over medium heat. I am just going to honestly put enough olive oil in here so that the bottom is coated. It's not really a deep fry, but I want to make sure that there's plenty. So that's enough there. And once this comes up to temperature, we're literally just gonna put these in. And I'm gonna give these about maybe 5 to 6 minutes on the first side. Because again, what I'm looking for is just building a crust. So I wanna see how does it look after that. It could take 7 minutes, it could take 9 minutes. Depends on what medium heat really is on this induction top and also where you're at. So I was looking for that crust. Once I get it to where I know, okay, this looks good, I can flip it over. And then from there, we'll kind of start to assess where is it internal temperature wise. Is it near 140, 145? Does it need to go a little bit longer? Is it going too hot? We can kind of adjust from there. But it's really just as simple as this. So I'm gonna let this oil get heated up and then it is time to cook. All right, our oil is up to temp, and I know because I took a little bit of the breading and I just dropped it in and it bubbled up, so we're in a good place. Also, you can just see if the oil is shimmering. Not so much on this induction top. So we're gonna see if I can get 4 pieces in here. Take a first piece, and of course we're going to drop it away from us as to not splatter anything in our faces. Again, laying it down. I might be able to get 4 in here. Again, laying it down. And let's see, I think, yeah, this is definitely possible. All right, 3 minutes each side. I flip these over, as you can see. Crust is definitely looking really good. I just want to check the internal temperature of these real fast. That's reading around 90. This is around 106. All our pieces are there. Again, oven 400 degrees. I am gonna put this in there and I'm gonna set a timer for, oh, everything's sliding off. That's not good. I should remind myself that these are on the slippery side. So I'm gonna set a timer for 5 minutes as I choke on Prosecco. And then we'll pull these as needed. 140, 145, the highest. That only took 5 minutes in the oven at the 400 degrees. All right, moment of truth here. I don't really care about the risotto because again, prepackaged stuff. Hey, poor choices. We have a Patreon, $1 a month is all we ask for. Helps greatly support the channel in these here inflated times. I like pesto, so I'm absolutely getting pesto on this. The best part is it's definitely cooked. It's always a good sign. Mm-hmm. And that's, oh, that is good and clean right there. Yeah. All right, oh, I'm gonna fuck this up. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Getting quick, easy dinner night thing to put together for you, the kids, the wife, the husband, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, whoever. I will see you all back here next time. And Prosecco was the poor choice. Got a lot left. Still early in the day on Saturday. It's about to be a good time. Cheers.